Announce us, though, even though I just announced us.
Live from South Florida, it's True Rock Revival Magazine, episode 1.
All right. Thank you, Doug Kaplan. All right. So to my left is Craig Marks, who many of you know from the magazine. And to my right is Ewan Smart, a Scottish lad we just think is very interesting. Today we're going to try to talk about as many things as we can. Rock music, of course. You can, when we let you know that we're opening up the phone line, you guys can call in. And that number, I'm not telling you right now. I'll tell you later. It has been a crazy week.
It's been a very crazy week.
Okay, well, you go. You go first. Go.
Where do we start?
Talk.
Where do we start? Oh, my gosh. I don't know how many of you out there have had the opportunity to buy a house.
Yeah.
I haven't done this in many years. It's probably been about 23 or so years. And it was not fun. I think it was a lot more enjoyable 23 years ago. I guess because I didn't have the responsibilities that I have now. I just pawned it off to somebody else.
Can we talk about?
It's been an ordeal. It's been a lot of fun.
It's been crazy. Can we talk about? Let's talk about how. So this show is Here's what we're going to do with the show. This is the introductory show, and then we're going to sometimes feature local musicians and maybe sometimes my band, doing some acoustic stuff, because it's really great to interview everybody, and we love interviewing the people who have made it. But we also felt with this magazine that if we couldn't promote music in South Florida or across the country for people who are, I can hear myself talking back to me, just so you know. But if we couldn't promote other people and help them out also, that was no good. So we also now have an A&R department, and we've gotten 2 people signed, so we're really happy about that. And so, yeah, send us your music because we want to help out and get it into the right hands. It's hard to do in today's world, but we want to help you do that. And we have 4 or 5 people who listen to the music and decide where it would best be placed. So we just want you musicians to know that we hear you, and we want to hear you. So now, that's the purpose of our show also, promoting music, promoting artists, promoting up-and-coming artists, and talking about just crap. So, Craig, what is like your best interview so far, you think?
Oh, God.
But I can't hear you. You got to be right on the mic. Not to be. He's not used to a microphone.
There's been so many. My favorite or the most memorable?
Both. I don't know. Yeah, both. Yeah.
One of both. Most memorable would definitely be Brad Delp. That was back in 1995, so that was many years ago, which actually helped launch True Rock Revival Magazine right now. Brief, I'll try to make this brief how this happened, but that was back in 1995 at the Orlando Arena. I drove up there to see Boston. I was a huge Boston fan, I always have been, and drove up there with a friend of mine, and we did the trio. We did Orlando Arena. We saw them in Tampa the second night, and then we saw them in Miami the third night. But we went up to Orlando. We got there probably about 2.5 hours early before the show, and we decided to walk around the arena. So we went to the back, and we're just hanging out there watching all the roadies do their thing, bringing a lot of equipment. And then a black Lincoln Town Car drove up. And
that's so wild.
It was cool. Black Lincoln Town Car drove up and stops. And it's just sitting there for a couple minutes, and we're just watching, just talking. And back door opens up, and Brad Delp walks out. And for me, he was one of my idols, as a kid. And I just freaked out. I just thought it was the coolest thing. And he gets out of the car with a little, I guess like a briefcase, and he starts walking up a ramp to the back of the arena, and he stops, and he reaches out his pocket. I guess he forgot something. And he turned around, and he starts walking back to the car. And as he's walking back to the car, he looks over in our direction, and he nods, at us. And I turned around and see, who's he looking at. And he gets back in the car. It's in there for about a minute. Gets out, and he starts walking up the ramp again. And he stops, and he waves over, and he says, "Hey, fellas." And again, I turned around. I'm not, who's he talking to? And he started walking over towards us. And I'm like, no, no shit. This is, this isn't
Too
happening.
much.
This
Like,
isn't
this
happening.
isn't real.
And Brad comes over and, introduces himself to us, like didn't know who he was, and stood there and spoke to us probably for about 35 or 40 minutes.
Wow.
And about 10 minutes into the conversation, it really turned into an interview with him, and it was really cool. And he was just a really cool guy, and asked him a lot of questions about Boston, about himself, and he asked questions about me and my family.
What's the most memorable
And
thing?
it was just really cool.
Tell me like the one thing that you remember from that interview that you walk away with where you go, I can't believe he said that. Was there anything like that?
No, actually, the coolest thing that I remember from the interview is I didn't have something for him to sign. I wanted his autograph.
Sucks.
So I reached in my pocket and I had,
So you had him sign your butt.
had him sign my ass. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a big ass.
Exactly. Yeah. He signed it. It was great.
Stop looking at his ass.
But
What are you looking
reached
at?
in my pocket, I had my keychain, and I don't know if you guys remember they used to have these little plastic keychains where you can put a photo inside of it. And I had one of those on my keychain, and it had my daughter Lindsay. She was about 2, 3 years old at the time. I had the picture of her in there. And I'm trying to open it, and he grabs it from me, and he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to get the picture out." He says, "You're going to break it. You're going to rip your daughter's head off." And he reaches in his pocket, and he takes out a little penknife, and very gently, he took off the cover, and he took it out, and he signed it. He wanted to know how to spell her name. I said, Lindsay with an A. And he wrote to Lindsay, my littlest but biggest fan, Brad Delp, Boston, 1995. And then then the other picture he signed also to Lindsay, 1995
Woo!
Boston, and it was just really cool. And the second greatest part, after this whole thing, he started walking to the arena, and he stopped, turned around again, and he asked us to come in for the sound check. So we sat there for about another half hour, had our own front row seats to a Boston concert, just the two of us. And it was just really cool. And we
Wow.
got to the hotel that night. I took out a piece of paper and I just started writing down all the notes. And
I don't know. Like,
there you go.
I want to, because there's so much we want to talk about today. But first we want to talk about, let's talk about Craig and Ewan. And first of all, Ewan over here.
Hello, guys.
So for those of you
We've
who,
got some friends we got to say
hey
hi to
everybody,
really quick.
Brian and Johnny. Okay, so
Yeah,
you'll do that
Doris.
part. So everybody who watches Outlander, if you watch Outlander, let us know, because we have a true from the Mackenzie, Clan Mackenzie
That
right
is
here.
correct.
How did you find out that you were from Clan Mackenzie?
Well, I've always known that.
How, okay, how do you pass that down, and what do they say?
A seaman? I'm not exactly sure how, but I think every person from Scotland knows their clan.
Yeah, because here nobody seems to give a crap about their genealogy unless they go spend the money on,
And here,
Ancestry.com.
and here you have to be very careful these days if you admit that you're part of a clan.
No, that's called.
Especially with everything
no.
that's going on in Washington.
You're so filthy.
Yeah.
But no, I think the big difference with America is there's just so many different people came here and helped put this country together. You might know you're Irish or Italian, but in Scotland you definitely know your clan.
Okay, now so you're going to sleep and you're like little Johnny and your mom's saying, okay, now here's what we're from, and we were all killed off at Culloden. Is that how it goes? No offense, but my guys
First,
didn't kill your guys.
Hold on a minute. First, we really don't talk about Culloden. That was a very bad moment for Scotland.
Oh my God, I don't mean to ruin the show. They might win. I'm sorry.
No, we don't win, and we know that, and we can't even get our shit together to leave England.
But wait a minute. You had a problem with Outlander because it got so difficult at one little part.
I had a real problem.
Did you get past that?
Kind of, but the very end of series 1, the Jamie, who is the Scottish hero.
Oh, I know who Jamie is.
She knows Jamie.
Finishes
yes.
up having a very bad event in prison.
Okay, yeah, we can't give it. So no spoilers.
No, but it is.
But
the
you're
most,
past it. Dude, tell me you went past it, because I told you got to give it a chance.
I did go past it,
And
but it's the most fantastic show, and I think you can find it on Stars.
yeah.
But it's truly fantastic.
And now, do you think the history is really accurate the way
It is
Okay.
very accurate. It's very accurate on how they lived, and just how rough it was for the Highlanders before they got burnt out by the English. But it's It's very good. I mean, it's really before the times of the actual tartan as you would know it today. And you would just kind of color your tunics, and then with vegetable and moss and things to.
You would rub vegetables on your tunic?
No. You would dye it probably in water with vegetables to color it, and mud and
what colors?
herbs and things.
Now, has yours been handed down? Now, what about your?
No, but let me just
tell
finish.
me about it.
Let me just finish that. So to make the dyes stick to the cloth, they would mash them around in a bin of piss, of pee. And pee actually would make the dyes stick to the cloth, and you would have it for a while. Now after
How do you keep that clean?
It was Scotland. It wasn't clean.
Wow. I don't think I could do it if I was a guy.
There was people just kind of bathing about
Yeah.
once every 6 months or something. There wasn't a lot of cleanliness
So
back
filthy.
in the old times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's rivers. I mean, people could certainly jump in and stuff. Why don't they do that?
Not really.
No.
There was a lot of sheep shagging and things going on.
That's true?
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What? Like, that's disgusting.
It
What,
is.
don't people get Like, did people get sick from doing that? I feel sorry for the sheep. Like, he doesn't know what the hell's going on. You know?
No, he doesn't know what's going on. She knows what's
She.
going on. It could be, or it could be a he. It depends
That's horrible.
Depends what clan you're from.
I don't even want to know. I don't think I could live in that country then. And it looks so beautiful, too.
No, it's quite beautiful.
Yeah, I want to go there. I
You
really
should-
do.
you
I've
should do
always
that.
wanted to.
It's fantastic. But
So
let's get
now-
back to music.
No, because no, you don't go from the shagging of the sheep to just me. Okay, so I can't transition that, man. I got to continue here.
Come on.
What I wanted to know is like, so now explain a kilt. So when you wear it, there's this thing you wear that's from your family. What is it called in the front? Like, there's like an emblem or something.
Well, it's a sporran.
Sporran.
Yeah.
So tell us about what that's about. I want to know.
Well, Scottish guys would never carry a purse. It's kind of like a purse. But you would have your money in there. You could have a little piece of beef jerky. You would have your oatmeal for breakfast. So it's just basically a little purse, and it covers the nuts as well.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, no, it's very good.
You wouldn't carry a purse, but you guys would fuck a sheep.
Is there a problem
the
with any of
rules,
this?
man?
Come on. No. It's all good stuff.
All right, so moving along here, since you guys wouldn't host and you
moving
made
right
me
along.
host.
No, you're doing
Okay,
such a good job.
they made me host, and like I said to Craig, hey, why don't you host? I mean, after all, your Brad Delp story and the creation of the magazine. And Craig's like, no, you have to host. So
Well, it's your
I'm
show.
pretty much, I guess. No, it's not. It's our show. So now let's get into, there's a particular story that's gone on between these two, and it involves a ball sack. And so does anybody want to talk about this story that I have to hear? And it's like I get snippets of it, but I've never really gotten the actual entire story before we get into rock news.
I'm going to have to pass this one off to you.
Well, thank you, because there's no one more appropriate to tell the story but me. I started working out with Craig maybe a year and a half
Craig
ago.
does fitness training in his spare time.
Yeah. So he had me laying on an incline bench with some dumbbells. And the first time I came in here, he was behind me, and he was kind of spotting me on these dumbbells when I would get them up to the top. And after like two, kind of on the third one, I'm laying there, and I thought, did Craig just put his nuts on my forehead? And I thought, no, that can't be. It can't be. So I dropped it back down to my chest, and I raised up the dumbbells. And sure enough, when he went to spot me again, there was a set of nuts on my forehead. So he does it 3 or 4 times, and then finally I just said, look, forget this. This guy's teabagging me. What the hell is going on here? So I stopped, and I jumped up, and I said, Craig, you can't be standing behind me when I'm working on the bench here. This is a disaster.
That was when you told me to stand in front of you.
No, you wanted to, but we couldn't do that. And that's the teabag story. It's quite simple.
Wow.
You tried to give
That's
me
not simple at all.
No, it is.
What were you thinking?
See-
like, why are you so close
See,
to him?
and my recollection is completely different.
Really?
Oh, yeah, go
My
ahead.
recollection is
Come on, what is it? I'm always hearing about this teabagging story. Like, anytime we're hanging out, I have to hear about this.
He likes to call it a Roman helmet as well.
Okay, so what is your what
See,
were-
my recollection
Yeah.
is that you kept on edging back.
Really?
Yes.
But I was like a caterpillar on my back,
Yes, exactly.
trying to get close to your
That
weasel.
exactly. You
Yeah.
kept on easing back, and you had positioned yourself up.
Fuck off. That was not like that. Come on. All right, carry on.
All right, so we're going to carry on.
This is getting monstrously gay,
And
by
I
the
don't
way.
and I don't remember you telling me to stop.
Oh. No, that's just bullshit.
All right, now there's another story, and I want to talk about this. You recently, tell us as briefly as you can about they're giving your wife a package that had to do with like roaches and bugs. What was that about?
Yeah, and actually, Craig is wearing the beanie present. I decided it would be quite humorous to name a roach, a Madagascar hissing cockroach, which is a good guy. I mean, he's not one of the bad roaches. He's a good guy.
But his name says hissing. I mean, that didn't
No,
make
but
you...
he just lives in a hollowed out tree stump in the exhibit at the Bronx Zoo. So right at Valentine's Day, you have the ability to name a roach, and they'll send an electronic certificate with the name of the roach and his picture to your love for Valentine's Day.
Nothing says love like a Madagascar cockroach.
Right.
Hissing,
Yeah,
hissing.
hissing.
A hissing cockroach. So I named him, and I thought I would get Linda just not the certificate, which is about $15. I would get the roach beanie, roach socks, a roach coffee cup, all with my guy's name on it. So that's what I did. And
What was the guy's name?
I can't remember.
You know what it is.
No, I do know, but it's kind of a little private thing.
Do you remember the name?
Is it dirty?
No, it's not.
Schmoopy?
No, not at all.
What was the name? Max?
Max.
Max.
So, right.
Max.
So
Why can't you say
Cockroach.
Max? What's so wrong about saying Max? Why, is that what you name your guy? Is that why it's not good?
that's Baby Max. so anyway, I sent this gift. I thought it was going to come Valentine's Day. It didn't. It came about a week and a half before Valentine's Day, and it arrived at the house. And Linda got a little bit excited, thinking, "Oh, here's a present. It's for me."
And she opens it up and she
opened it
says,
and she sees all this roach shit.
did you get her anything else besides this?
I tried to give her a sausage surprise, but that failed.
Yeah, everybody gets that for Valentine's Day.
Well, no, actually, you can present it. It might not be received because that's the woman.
You're married, though, so.
A long time, 30
Yeah.
years.
Well, there you go.
But anyway, it didn't go well. Linda broke into tears. My daughter came home a little early, and she called me and said, "What the hell are you doing? Sending roaches to Mom for Valentine's Day?" And it's really quite annoying because my assistant at work.
She
because-
set you up.
No, when I came up with the idea, she told me, "Oof, I don't think that's going to be well received."
So you didn't listen to your assistant.
No.
Why have an assistant if you don't
and
listen
she
to her?
told me 3 or 4 times, "I don't think you should do it." And then eventually, I just went press and.
So you don't listen to your assistant.
Not if I can help it.
But
No.
you're kind of hard to manage then. Like, if someone works for you, is that like you don't listen to someone?
No. I do. I thought it was funny. I still think it's funny. My daughter thought it was quite funny in the end.
It's hilarious.
You know, yeah, but I'll never do that again.
Yeah. So does she wear the socks now or any
No,
of the stuff?
I've hidden the socks.
But she didn't want to see them. She's that angry, huh?
No. I will wear the socks, and I hid the mug. But I'm going on a big cruise coming up for my 30th wedding anniversary.
Cool.
So I have
Don't wear those socks.
tried to redeem myself in Linda's eyes.
Oh, she got a cruise out of this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's a way to redeem yourself. Okay, all right. So there's so much. Let's see. There's rock and roll news we're gonna do in a little while, and oh my God, stories and people we have to call. Do you want to call the person who's been driving us crazy this week?
I think we should do that.
I think we should. Okay, guys. So let me just preface this by, like, I have this brother, and he's a realtor. So he's been helping with the whole house thing. Only the guy makes you feel like you don't know what you're doing most of the time. He's an excellent realtor. But we got to call him because he was trying to talk to me and I'm out the door and okay, good. Here, let's do this with him. His name is Rob. We're not going to give his last name. Best realtor in town, but still, you got to hear this.
What's up?
Hey, Rod, you're live. How are you?
Hey,
You were trying to talk to me about all this stuff before, but I was out the door. Like I was trying to. So, are we like your best clients ever? Don't you love us?
Awesome.
Aren't we great? You're so lying right now. We drive you crazy, don't we?
It's a challenge, but it's okay.
Like, but the thing is, like, some of the paragraphs, okay, are really long, and I'm a bullet point person. I mean, your sister needs like just the bare bones. Thing is, like, also they gave us this. So the whole thing was this inspection, right? And so we have to make sure there are like, but I don't know all the terms. But you did put it. You said nuts and bolts or screws, whatever, roof screws, and I figured that's part of when you go inspect a house, you're gonna have to look at that stuff. But I
by
guess
the way,
I'm wrong.
Rod, say hello to everybody. You're on True Rock Live.
He did, didn't he? He said, "Hey."
Yeah, I did. I said hello. Hello.
All right. So you got people are listening. All right. So dig this. So how many of you out there, like, you got a realtor, and like you are trying to figure out the jargon and how to understand all this stuff, but you're hitting sort of the points of you got the inspector, whatever, but like I just feel like we're idiots. Like we know what we're doing sort of, but we don't.
We have no clue.
I know. But then like sometimes it gets to be like where it's a lot of information or reiterated. It's said again and again, right? And so I don't know what that inspector told you today that would make you feel more comfortable. We're not going to give any names of the company yet unless they pay us to advertise. But like, what did I do wrong? I want to know. You got to tell me. And this is also my brother too, by the way, people. So, but anyway, I want to know, like, what did I do wrong? I feel like I did something wrong. What did I do wrong?
No, you didn't do anything wrong. You just left out the information that we spent, I don't know, 20 minutes on the phone discussing it. So I wanted to get assurances from them
Oh.
on what they were going to do and have them email you back and say, this is how we're going to do
But
we're going to do it.
what stuff did he give you that's different than what I said? By the way, you're adopted, but that's another story for another time.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
All right. So like, what else
That's my line, by the way.
Yeah, but the thing is, the truth is, it's really that you're adopted. Because I look more like Dad than you. I look more like Dad.
No, that's true. Either
See?
way, I believe it.
You don't have a nose like anyone else in our family. What does that tell you? There you go.
Okay.
All right.
You had a good
So,
surgeon.
so where were we? Oh yeah.
So what did I do wrong? I'm trying to figure it out.
It wasn't anything. It was a complete like non-conversation that you didn't have with them. You guys.
You know that I never talked to him. All I did was text him, and I texted him to send me all the information. And then Craig looked at it. You got to yell at him. He looked at it. See, I'm always like I'm the bad guy a lot of times, but Craig, like, he didn't. I don't know. He didn't look at He told me he looked it over the email and told me it looked really good. That the guy's just as precise as the other people that you liked a lot. But you said we missed it out. We messed up. We screwed up, Craig. It's all your fault.
It's always
No, there was just a couple of issues, that I said make sure that you get this, get in writing that they're qualified to do certain things, and then I said to make sure of that on the roof, that when they do look at it, that there's a couple of things they have to have because it covers you. They have to be able to assure you that they're going to cover a couple things.
Yeah.
And if they do, then your insurance premium will be affected in either it has a chance if it's to be affected in a positive way for your premium. So that's why I went over.
But but like what's really funny is when we're going along and then all of a sudden it'll be like, well, I can't make her do anything anyway. I mean, you're going to give her the inspection, but she's probably going to just she doesn't have to pay for anything. We're going to try to drive the price down, right? But then, then there's a part of us that doesn't know how she's going to be when we go to closing, and then she can just totally do whatever she wants. She doesn't have to contribute.
Oh, well, during the 10 days, no, you're going to go to closing. I mean, you'll close.
Yeah.
But the first 10 days of your inspection is for both parties to figure out if there's anything materially wrong with the house that has to do with, that's major, like structure, roof, plumbing, electrical, so on. some of the equipment. If it's non-functional or on its last leg, and the inspection reveals that, well, that's the chance for the parties to decide whether they're going to work it out or not. I mean,
All right, but you gotta, like, when you text, like, so I was dealing with like 5 things when you called me, and then and you're being so nice now. You're just like, you're so funny. You're like this with me. You're like, it's like, that was objection, by the way. It's like, I feel like it's like this. I feel like like if that was an inner voice, it would be like,
what is that?
it's a guy saying nope. Because like the thing is, you're very particular with your like. I love how you had all the sheets highlighted when we went on the drive. That was cool. But like you're driving around and you're like, Abby, no, the sheets. Get my sheets, not your sheets. I saw your sheets. Forget your sheets. Get my sheets. It's hilarious. You're so hilarious. You don't even realize it. It's so funny. You're very meticulous. You're very meticulous. And I like that, except for when I used to try to borrow a pencil off of your desk and you'd come home and just like be like, oh my, I don't even know how you knew. You had 2 pencils on your desks. How could you even know that I borrowed a pencil? It's so crazy.
Well, you know, I don't know.
It's so wild. Like,
Just this.
I'm not like that. Like, I'm organized, but I like bullet. Like, I try to get people to like narrow down stuff for me. That's just how I work. I can't. But anyway, okay, so we love you, and you've been doing great with us. And just, you know, we want texts that are like, hey, you guys are awesome, but you fucked up, but we think you're I think you're awesome. Just if you could throw that.
I think family needs to.
Yes, I do. Yes, we do. No, we do. We like that. It's good. Try it. And,
Yeah, well, you know, I mean,
we're family, man. Like, you know, we're family. It's like,
I'm looking out for you.
you are. No, that part, you're amazing. You've been great. I'd rather have somebody on us like that than somebody who doesn't, you know, who's just a pain. And, oh, the camera's only showing half of my punum. Someone.
That's through here.
Oh, that's, yeah, no, I don't even want, I don't know, Craig keeps putting the camera on me there. I don't want it. Okay.
Well, this is Facebook Live.
Oh, it is. Hi. I don't like that angle, but okay, whatever. All right. Well, look, we're going for it, and we hope everything works out. And I hope this woman doesn't freak out on us and like suddenly just, you know, I hope like, you know, it's so funny how we have to like cater, like, don't get her upset. You don't want to get her upset. She's got the upper hand here. It's true. It's so weird. I didn't think we'd be in this, but it was just buyer market bullshit. It's not buyer market when we have to always be nice to this lady.
No, who said you have to? You know, we're not being nice. We're not being friendly, nice.
It's a
anything.
business
We're just-
transaction.
That's right.
it.
I know, but we
Yeah,
have to
but-
cater to her kind of like you're all, it's so funny. It's like, don't piss Jimmy off in the town. Don't look him in the eye. You can't piss Jimmy off. Like sometimes you'll say to me, no, we don't want to do that. It can make her just freak, and then she'll give the house to somebody else. You keep saying that to me.
No,
You
what I
do.
said
You've
was-
said it to me like 3 times, and I'm like, oh shit, we got to walk on eggshells for this woman.
Well, here's the problem.
Yes.
In this market, or in any market, if you have somebody who, as a seller, who paid attention to really what the market is, what sales are, and then they price their house very close to where the sales have been,
Right.
and their house happens to be a pretty good candidate, it kind of looks real good. It was done well. It's not, you know, it's not a 1960s home. It's
Mm-hmm.
fairly fresh.
Yeah.
It's in the right neighborhood,
Okay.
and then they price it correct. I mean, you're just at that point. It doesn't really matter what market you're in. You're going to have others that are going to recognize exactly what you recognize,
Yeah.
and then what's going to happen is now you're into a competition, and with potential buyers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And, you know, and you know, you have a choice. I mean, you don't. You
No,
can
we don't. We
continue-
love it. We really like that.
You
We,
can
we want the
continue
house.
hunting and looking for something else.
Don't start making us feel, you know, like, you know, well, you're not putting millions of dollars into this getting a house, so forget it. Don't start talking about cash. Like, well, you don't have millions to throw out in cash, so I like when you do that one. That always cracks me up.
No, all I said was cash buyers have the upper hand. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. Right.
Don't you would love it if I talk like that, right? All right, we're having fun, and we do love you, and we appreciate you. And this isn't going. This thing won't stop.
Well, this
All
has
right.
been an awesome experience.
Yeah, we're gonna bring you on here one day.
That's
Can I embarrass you?
rodrealtor.com.
Will you do like any gimmick thing we do? Like if we stage something, would you do it, or would you not? You'd be too afraid. Would you trust me and Craig?
No, I wouldn't trust me.
Trust you to do what you guys.
Yeah.
Hell no, you guys will be punking me the whole time.
Yeah. Well, now you're gonna do. Now we'll do it when you don't expect it. You really should have just come in. All right. Well, moving along, we're gonna get into some rock and roll news and stuff now, because hi people, we see you. We're getting all these little cool texts and stuff.
Did you want
All
to
right.
mention before we start on
Yes.
that? Did you want to mention?
All right,
our
Rod,
friend-
take it easy, man. Thank
sorry,
you.
Rod.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Did you want to mention our friends in Paris and the awful events there at Notre Dame?
Yes, we're going to that right now. So now we're going to do the main item of the week. Okay, I'm going to get into the Notre Dame. Yeah, there we go. This is your news source for True Rock Revival magazine, bringing it to you live when others don't talk to you. We do. The news story. Oh, that's awesome. News story of the week. So it's hard to not talk about Notre Dame Cathedral and what happened. People are really freaking out, man. They're crying, and I understand it. It's such a big piece of history. The truth about that spire that we saw burning, which they keep playing repeatedly again and again and again. And I'm thinking, okay, I know, just stop playing the spire. It's already dramatic enough. They keep showing us that. But, the thing about it is that spire was actually built in the 1900s. So this cathedral has been refurbished so many times, and people aren't aware of that, but it's true. Because if you're going to maintain an icon like that in history, you have to refurbish it. There was an expert on. He said that it's also built on top of Roman ruins. For those of you who don't know, and the cathedral it's always been it brings Catholicism and Christianity together, knowing the history of it pretty much. And it seems to have been, what they're saying now is that how are you doing, Doug, over there? He's back there. He's not on mic. Where are you?
I'm here.
Are you from New York, by the way, Doug?
Originally?
Doug Kaplan, our guy behind the scenes doing our engineering. You're from, where are you from? Because you have an accent.
I'm from originally I was from New York.
But where?
I was born in Queens, raised on Long Island.
There we go. I knew it was Long Island. Long Island. Forget about it. All right. That was neither here nor there. I'm going to keep going here. You all right?
Okay.
All right. We're going to get to Doug in a minute. So they say that it was a beam and that a fire began because all I heard was like a guy walked away from a beam.
Well, there were
Tell me about
there were
that.
some renovations going on.
Right.
I don't know if
So
you saw
during the
all
renovation-
the scaffolding.
Right. So one guy walked away from the scaffold, correct? Is that
right.
what happened? Okay,
Yes.
but how did it catch
I
on
don't know.
fire?
I don't know if he was using a torch. I don't know exactly what was going on.
You would think that if workers are up there with
Welding or something?
welding or doing
Yeah.
something like that, and you've got flammable liquid, whether
Yeah,
it's
you'd think
on
they-
the
you'd
beam,
think they'd be a
you
little
would
bit
think
more
they would have
careful.
mobile fire suppression
Yeah.
equipment with them.
But I read that they didn't have any construction going on that day, that there was nobody in the building.
Really?
Really?
So
Nobody was in the building.
that's what there was
Where were you?
no construction going on that day.
Who said?
I was
That's
dri-
a
I think I was
conspiracy theory.
Driving home from
Okay,
work.
if there was no one in the building, how did they rescue all of the things?
there was
What's
no.
when
Okay, let me rephrase that.
Yeah, I
there was
don't
no,
understand.
There was no construction going on
construction.
in the building
Uh-huh.
when the fire broke out.
You should turn this so people see Doug. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
One other useless factoid that I read on the BBC this morning was that the makers of the video game Assassin's Creed, I'm not a video guy, but the makers, who are based in the Paris suburbs, donated £500,000 to the renovation cause, but they had spent about 8 months actually mapping and photographing the inside and the outside of Notre Dame, and so that they could create it for the video game. And they've offered all of the work that they have in the video stills and all of the photographs to the reconstruction effort, if they can learn from that.
Can I be creepy here now?
Yeah.
So, like, what if that company were behind this so that they could get their name out there.
Oh, they have their name out there. Trust me.
All right.
Now,
Assassin's
who's
Creed.
talking about conspiracy?
See what I'm doing?
Now that's
For
conspiracy.
all you people who are into these conspiracy theories, it could happen. You never know.
Yes.
You never know. Okay. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I did random. Okay. So here's the deal with that. Okay. That's cool. So that's really cool. So they're going to help using their technology.
That's right.
Okay. I heard that there were bids though on all that stuff. Like,
I'm sure there's bids, but they're just offering it, I think,
Yeah.
free of charge
that's cool.
to the French government
That's really cool.
to help with the reconstruction.
Yeah, everybody's pitching in. I
Of
mean,
course, it's
yeah,
huge. Yeah.
billions of dollars being donated, which it should be for an historic site.
It's going to cost hundreds of billions to fix it.
Yeah,
and-
they said 10 years. They said it.
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, wow. And then the other thing about it is like, so he walks away from this the scaffold, and something lit on fire. But here's what the kicker: it took 25 minutes for someone to show up to start to put out the fire. What is the deal?
And
Why?
You would have thought with such a national monument that they would have practiced what happens if the top of it catches alight or we have an issue. How are we going to get the fire trucks in there? How are we going to have long enough ladders to get up there? But it seems like they were really kind of caught unaware of how they were going to deal with it.
I hear at the Eiffel Tower, they've been having a lot of drills lately with the little guys running around, and it's been like a ladder and everything. They've been doing tons of fire drills since this.
They have.
No, I'm just saying it.
Yeah. Well, I think
Wouldn't it be
the-
funny if you catch everybody at every monument, like all these tourists now, see every monument, historic site now, with like drills going on? Yeah, like wouldn't you want to preserve history by knowing what to do? I just don't understand. Like, I really want to know if anyone out there knows, why did it take 20? Why? Like, where's the fire station? I don't understand.
Well, that I don't know, but I think it was a very busy Persian afternoon that they tried to move the fire trucks in there.
Oh,
So it's
why?
very difficult to get
To
into
get
that
around there,
island.
'cause,
very
yeah.
difficult to get into that small.
just take the
island.
river, get a boat. Just have a fire boat and just take the
Yeah.
scene.
These are all good thoughts.
Also in Paris, don't they take a break in the afternoon? Don't they all take a break? They go home, they relax.
That's probably Spain and Italy.
Spain and
but,
Italy,
but,
okay.
but the French don't work very hard.
Nice
anyway.
try.
They don't.
I mean, I love them to death, and
you
the
get
food
an A for trying.
I get it.
and the food is ridiculous. I love them to death, but they're not known as the hardest working country.
The French?
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
great. Now we're going to have someone call and be like,
No, no,
what
no.
are you talking about? Oh, we have created all of the culture that you
No,
Americans and Scottish people.
No, I don't. I
Oh,
don't.
shit.
I don't.
You're setting us
I
up,
don't,
thanks.
don't disagree with they brought the culture,
Yeah.
but
And
they have about 11 weeks of vacation a year.
Yeah, piss them off.
I think we're
Oh,
stupid.
please. If it wasn't for us, the French would be speaking German.
But if it was not for the French, you would not have the Statue of Liberty.
And we'd no longer have our Grey Poupon.
Grey
Snails,
Poupon,
you know,
snails.
Snails, escargot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lesbianism.
That true?
Excuse me?
That's all French.
When I'm at a
That's true.
party, I never say that out loud. I say that girl's is like, I think she's, oh my gosh, now I wouldn't say that. Never mind. I used to, okay, I can't. I'm going to make myself look really
with the Me
bad.
Too movement, we better edit that section out.
Yeah. I used to say, like, instead of saying lesbian, I'd be like, I think that girl's, like, background is Lebanese. And my friend would be like, oh, Lebanese. I'm just going to not be near her because she might come on to me. That was our little code. Is that terrible? I'm sorry. I'd like to take this time to not insult any people from Lebanon. I love all people.
Or France.
Yes. He's the one who's the person who thinks that.
You're gonna have to do a disclaimer. You know that, right? In the beginning of the show.
Whatever.
And
It's neither here nor there.
the other huge thing that happened, I'm sorry to usurp elements of
I
this.
don't care. It's fine. Good.
I think the French disaster is something worth talking about. But yesterday was the best and biggest football game ever, where Tottenham Hotspurs beat Man City
Okay.
in Man City to go to the semi-final of the Champions League.
Okay, now, I don't know what you're talking about.
Tottenham
but Craig
Hotspurs
might.
is the greatest football team in England.
Where? Oh, in England.
Yeah,
That's why I didn't know
They're
about
in
it.
North London.
In other words, they're a soccer team. Yeah.
Soccer team.
Yes.
You said football.
Okay.
You can't say football in the U.S.
Well,
and
there's
figure.
two. There's the American version, and then there's the real one.
Oh, okay.
So, but yes, it's soccer.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Just to clarify.
That's good.
Yeah.
What else is going on in sports? Because I'm going to get into some
You
music.
don't need to know anything else apart from Spurs.
Yeah. Okay. That's your opinion, but
That's right.
we don't want to talk about the Dolphins right now. It's too early. Just let's wait for the summer. All right. Let's do rock and roll news now. Can I get some music for rock and roll news? Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Yeah.
What's going on with AC/DC?
Let me get to it. All right, here's the deal. So, some new information has come out about the sudden death of Tom Petty. It turns out in 2017, he was touring with major hip issue going on where he needed a hip replacement. So he goes back home. Tom Petty had gone back home, and he had just finished doing 53 shows with a messed up hip. I don't even know how he did that, okay? He decided he didn't want to do the surgery that was scheduled for when he got back, right? And he had excruciating pain, so naturally he was on a strong regimen of prescription painkillers. And so, everyone out there, that is what killed Tom Petty, sadly, a legendary rocker, and may he rest in peace. I'm telling you, more people out there with their backs and stuff like this, they get into the medication and they think they can postpone it and they can't. So it's another sad tragedy in rock and roll history. Now I want to get on to, there are so many people now they call it residency. It used to be people are playing a show in Vegas, and it used to be that it was like jazz or like these cabaret things or whatever. But now, because Vegas is more of a family kind of place, you have everyone going, and they'll do like, a few months here, a few months there. And so Aerosmith began their show in Vegas this week. And what I've heard is that it's a great production. It's very wild because before Steven Tyler, the band comes on to do all their excellent hits, they have a video montage of old interviews of the band. So that's pretty cool. But it goes on for like 35 minutes of seeing old footage. Literally, that's the show. And then you see them do 16 songs. But I'm sure it's an excellent show. And I heard the production is amazing. So if you're out in Vegas right now, go see the Aerosmith show. They're there. And they are I think they're at Caesars, from what I understand. Yeah, the Coliseum. Everyone's going to be there. Journey is going to be there with residency. It sounds like they're doctors. So, and it's so funny, like, because these rock bands, like, they'll be like, yeah, I'm going to have my residency. Really? Are you going to get to operate on people? Yeah, rock and roll. So they're going to have, Journey's going to be at the Coliseum in Caesars Palace in October, for those of you who are going to be out there then. And then, even though it's not rock, but I still consider him light rock, James Taylor. He's still an icon, in the folk and acoustic genre. And also, more rock and roll news. Amon Amarth, Arch Enemy, and At the Gates, and Gray Magus? They're going to be doing a North American tour for September and November. So I thought you guys would want to know about that. AC/DC is planning a tour with former band member Brian Johnson, the second lead singer from the 1980s for AC/DC. And then the bassist Cliff Williams. The tour is going to be next year. That's what it's slated for. And they're going to do an AC/DC album as a tribute to Malcolm Young, which I thought was pretty cool. And some of his released material is going to be on that. Finally, I don't know if it's finally, I think it is, Michael Anthony, now with The Circle, the former Van Halen bass player. He and Sammy Hagar were on the Howard Stern Show. And they were talking about the new album coming out called Space Between. And it's going to be out, they say, May 10th. So that's cool. But they talked about a reunion. They're always talking about a reunion, right? Even Craig, when you spoke to Sammy, what did he say about having a reunion?
He said that
Sammy Hagar.
He said that if the opportunity presented itself, he would do it under certain circumstances.
What circumstances?
That's if Michael Anthony was invited. To play bass.
So you think Sammy's behind all this?
No, absolutely not.
Not at all.
And I'm not even sure about this. I don't know if
why. Why wouldn't?
I don't even know if this is accurate.
Really? What? But Howard Stern, they were just talking about it on the Stern Show this past week.
Who was on?
It was Michael Anthony was there with Sammy, and they were going over how the album, and they were going out. And Michael Anthony was like saying, "Yeah, I'll I would do a reunion.
But I don't know if Eddie Van Halen has actually reached out to him.
No, I
There's-
don't
there's-
Well,
think
here-
so.
here's-
I don't think Eddie would do it.
There's been some
I have-
conflicting
He might do a
stories.
one-off show, but I can't see him doing it.
Do you think it's because he would have to fire Wolfgang, his son, on bass?
I would think
That-
that's
no,
one of the
I don't
issues.
think- I don't think
Unless
so.
Wolfgang elected to go and do something else with the
Well,
music.
Wolfgang, he has his own band now, so
Yeah.
I don't think that
What's
would
the
be
name of
issue.
Wolfgang's Wolfgang's bang? Can't even
Band.
say that. His band. Can't say that.
That I'm not sure.
Mark.
But I don't think that what we've been hearing in the press. I don't think it's all that accurate.
No.
At this point, I don't think.
But
think
I mean,
that
this is not the
they've
press.
really
This is
discussed
on
it.
Howard Stern show. They're not going to lie on Howard Stern show. He's right there. This is all from there. Okay. So what for Abby? What about the Red Sox? Yeah. Woo! I love the Red Sox, and my stepson gets so pissed because he's a Yankees fan. But I'm sorry, guys. I love the Red Sox. Okay. Thank you, Guy, for telling me that. The Red Sox rule. You know it. Let's see. What else now? What a year it has been. I don't know. Someone's trying to get through, so I don't know if it's for me, but I can't answer calls. So if you're trying to Instagram me or, text me or send me anything, I can't. Let's see. What else do we have going here? So now, people, we're going to open up the lines, and we want to know. We're going to open up the phone line. It's 954-707-9175. Feel free to call in now, and you can be in the show and talk to us. You can ask us about past interviews that are coming up, and you can ask us about anything. Like, just, go ahead, interview us. It's fine, man. We'll answer your questions. And the other thing is, you can also tell us a time that you have sent somebody that you loved a terrible gift for Valentine's Day, birthday, or occasion, and how that person flipped out. You can tell us that, or if they thought it was the most phenomenal gift on the planet. Please entertain us now and call in. Otherwise, you're going to have to hear all of our crazy ass stories.
I have some questions for you.
What's the number again?
It is 954. Thank you, Doug. Isn't Doug so? Thank you, Doug Kaplan. 954-707-9175. Sure. What?
I'd like to ask some questions to our guests that we have here tonight. You and Smart.
Be on the mic.
I'm on the mic.
Beyond
I'm
the
on
mic. You just said that to me.
Ewan is actually quite the accomplished guitarist, and was once in actually a thrash metal band.
No, it wasn't thrash.
Wasn't thrash metal?
No.
But
It
just
was more
metal.
like-
just
More like a power metal,
A
more
power
like
metal band.
Iron Maiden type Rhapsody.
and the name of this
Camelot.
band was
There
Corpse
you go.
Grinder.
Well, there was two decent bands,
There you go.
Transgressor
Mhm.
and Corpse Grinder.
Okay, tell us about that. A little
Corpse
bit.
Grinder cracks me up.
They were just, I would say, mid-'80s, early '80s band, kind of the new wave of British metal when Maiden was coming out, Saxon, Angel Witch bands like that. So we were trying to model ourselves in Chicago along those type of bands.
And I know that your band had opportunity to open up for a lot of big acts.
Which
back then.
acts?
We opened up for quite a few bands that were coming through Chicago that wanted a local support band before their touring support band would go on. And we opened for bands like Crocus at Chicago Fest and quite a few other decent-sized bands. But it was great fun. It was a different time in my life. I could play guitar pretty decent then, but having had 3 strokes and 6 bypasses, I don't quite have the chops I had.
You told me
when I
you've
was
died
18 or
twice.
19. I did die twice.
How do you die twice and come back?
Well, congestive heart failure was the first one that took me down, and then I had a monster stroke on the operating table getting my 6 bypasses.
Okay, wow. Okay, like, did you see like the bright light or anything?
No, I was thrust into a little bit of a coma.
Oh my
So-
God. Could you hear, like, because I dated someone who had been in one, not when he was with me, of course, but like he said, could you hear noises outside when you were in your coma?
I could, yes.
So like was it like if you wanted medicine for pain, you're thinking of it, but you
No.
can't tell them?
You really can't do anything.
That sucks. So
You
you hear
just-
everyone and you can't even talk to them.
You can't. I couldn't even speak or do anything.
So
Yeah.
you agree that people should talk to people in coma. So talk to people. If you know anyone in a coma right now out there, they can hear you. Talk to them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Could you actually understand what was going on?
No. And then I slowly started coming out of it. And some of the earliest memories when I was coming out of the black. I was laying there. They had me completely diapered up, so I was laying there. This is not going to be received well. But I remember laying there in
Just do it.
in a Depends. And I remember laying there like Gandhi in my bed in a Depends, and thinking to myself, "My God, am I actually peeing myself in bed?" And I was, and that stuck with me.
But you seem that's pretty logical. Like if I came out of that, I'd be like, "Oh my God, I've regressed back into being a child."
No, it was a complete disaster. But I had to learn how to walk again and get out of bed.
Shit,
and do
that's
all of
crazy,
that.
man.
Yeah, no, it was good. I'm very lucky.
How
to be
long
here.
ago was this?
This was December 2nd, 2010.
Wow, man. Oh, so so you're probably fine now, right? You don't worry because it's like now we're in 2019, so you probably
I'm very heavily medicated at all times.
you are.
Hmm.
Well, aren't a lot of people?
Well, but I'm very heavily medicated for my heart and cholesterol issues.
All right. It's better to be medicated than not.
Well, I would be dead if I wasn't medicated.
I got you. That happens.
But my blood pressure is perfect now. Yeah, so it's all good.
I think Craig's getting concerned over here.
Yeah.
He's like looking at you like, oh shit, I hope he doesn't.
I'm looking for the defibrillator on the wall.
Okay.
No,
You've been
well-
very good about the lipstick from my gig mic that you've been using. Like there's all this lipstick on there from times that I've had lipstick for
I
gigs.
was wondering about that. I
And
thought it
I'm
was
thinking
yours.
he hasn't said one thing to me about it. Not even when we were setting up. And I'm like, he's got to sit there and
No,
talk to my lipstick.
I actually did look at it and go, wow, this is an old mic. What's all this stuff? I didn't
It's
realize
just-
it was
I need to
lipstick.
clean my stuff a little more.
It smells pretty nice.
Thank you. I try, I floss. Okay.
All right, let's get some calls.
Another question for you. What
Yeah.
got you personally? What got you interested in rock music when you were younger?
Definitely guitar, and
When did you start playing?
I started playing guitar when I was 9, and I had a red acoustic guitar my dad bought me from Newcastle, a store called Windows. And then I went from there into with a Strat and then a Les Paul. And I think once I really started listening to bands like Leonard Skinner, Rory Gallagher, and I used to listen to another band called Curved Air, and I remember listening to Peter Frampton, really kind of getting interested in the effects of good quality guitar music.
Cool.
And then I went downhill from there, and I launched into Judas Priest and Motorhead, and
That's not
and
necessarily
Motorhead's
downhill.
great.
Motorhead. I love to death.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
I love
I've seen them quite a few times, and
You saw Lemmy?
Oh yeah. I've
Yeah.
never seen a louder band in my life.
Yeah. That's what makes them good.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
They're cool.
Yeah, from a trio.
Oh yeah, no, it's a
Yeah.
massive amount of volume.
Yeah.
I used to wear my Motorhead shirt years ago. I didn't know who they were. And everywhere, I just thought, oh, this is so cute. And it says Motorhead. So I'd walk around wearing my hoodie and it said Motorhead and it had their like logo, whatever. And I swear, anywhere I was, I could be traveling and people be like, Motorhead, yeah. And I'd be like, and I would just go, okay, yeah. And then I looked them up and then I listened to them and I loved them. I thought,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, no,
these guys are great.
You can't go wrong.
Who is your definitive idol for guitar?
Oh, I know that. I know his answer.
I know who. I know. I just want to.
I think there's probably 3 guys that for me are a cut above the rest. Definitely Paul Gilbert, who is just quite spectacular. An English guitarist who's really a jazz fusion shredder called Guthrie Govan. I think what he does on the guitar is just unbelievable. Everyone should check that out. And then behind that, he plays too quick, but I do tend to think that Yngwie Malmsteen revolutionized guitar in a big way.
We were going to interview him, but I don't know.
No,
The jury's out on interviewing him. We're a little scared
There's
because
a
of what
little
people
interesting
tell
story
us that
behind
he's.
that.
I've already had one interview that was like, oh my God.
He's a wild man, but unbelievable guitarist.
Not with him. I mean, I want to clarify. I had an interview with someone. Oh my God. You never forget. Okay, so we have someone asking us, Jim Emmerich, what was the first concert you went to? Jim, are you talking about, so you want Ewan to answer that? He can answer it. You want us all to answer
We
it?
can all answer.
I'll answer. Go ahead.
All right, go.
Blue Oyster Cult for me at Newcastle City Hall.
Cool. And yours?
Boston.
That day?
What's that?
When you interviewed?
No, Boston.
Way
It
ahead?
was actually Boston, Doobie Brothers, and Poco.
Oh,
This is
wow.
back in
Poco,
Oh my
that's
God.
a name I've
This-
forgotten.
Pogo.
Yeah,
oh
this
my
is back
gosh.
in. Oh my God, I'm going to age myself here. But 1978, I was about. Oh my God.
Yeah, you don't have to tell us.
But it was at the old Miami
Fine.
Miami baseball stadium,
Mm.
and that concert it was really cool. Went with a couple friends of mine. Poco opened, and within 10 minutes they were off the stage. As everybody on the field was just throwing bottles at
But
them.
I can't stand that.
Yeah.
I mean, let
No, it
them
was-
play
no,
their set.
Exactly.
That sucks. That's so rude.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And then Doobie Brothers were on, and then Boston went on. But actually, one of the questions that spoke to Brad Delp about was that concert, and he remembered it. He remembered that. He remembered
That's cool.
exactly what happened.
Do you remember what song Boston opened with or closed?
They Oh my God. I think they opened with Rock and Roll Band.
Wow.
I don't remember what they closed with. But this was a tour for their first album.
Okay.
And
If you're
it
just
was
listening in,
it was
please
incredible.
call us 954-707-9175. That's 954-707-9175. It's great that we're getting texts about all these things, but we're waiting for someone to call us. We
All right,
like
Abby,
that.
what was your first concert?
You're making us lonely, man. Call me. I love when guys do that with girls. I think that's so cool. Hey, like if you're, even if I'm such a smart ass that like people doing that to people when they're not into them, I think it's freaking hilarious. I'm the one in the corner laughing. I just think it's funny.
All right, what
I
was
don't
your
know.
first,
Is that mean? It's just funny.
What was your first concert? I don't know that answer.
What my first concert, I believe it was Aerosmith, and I remember I was up front because we just would back, when I went, you could just run over, like you would literally walk on people's shoulders to get to the front. And so I was there, and I see him, he has paper. I remember I was upset because he had paper lyrics taped to the ground, and he was really screwed up. And then I actually met him. I met Steven Tyler on a beach when I was 14, and he was more interested in the waves and the water and the trip that he was on. And I was trying, here's my idol, and I'm trying to say hi. And I'm like, hey, hi. And he's just like, hey. Yeah, he just kept going peace signs. He's a nice guy, but he's like looking at his feet, and I'm thinking, you suck. And then he went to sit on his lounge chair, and he's like, hey, and he's still like shooting me the peace sign. And I just, by then, I'm like, you know what, if I can't have a conversation and ask you questions about everything. But I'm so glad to see that he's the way he is now, because, he's awesome. He can sing anything, and I love him. So
All right, Ewan, first record album you ever bought with your own money?
I used to steal a lot of albums. So
That doesn't surprise me.
if I can try and remember which one I
which one
actually
did you
Can you tell us
purchased.
where
Which
you
one did
stole?
you actually purchase
that
legally?
store would like to talk to you.
I think that store's well out of business now, as is most of the record industry. But it was in Durham in the northeast of England. I have got to believe that the first one that I paid for might have been,
If someone's just calling in, we're not talking about prostitutes at this time. We're talking about albums that we've bought.
My wife is sitting in the corner, so we won't be talking about that.
Oh, okay.
But I think it could have been Rush, Caress of Steel, because I loved the song Bastille Day, still do. So I think that was the first one I actually paid for. I'd had probably 3 or 4 years of nicking albums prior to that.
What about you, Craig? First album?
You know that answer.
No, I do not. Oh,
Right.
that's
Come
cool.
on.
We just turned off the lights so we can be like, it's like we're in a fort now. I feel like I love darkness.
It's a little dark.
It's a little.
Yeah, first album I bought, Frampton Comes Alive,
There we go.
Mm.
and I destroyed that album.
My
Absolutely
brothers
destroyed
had
it.
that album, and I used to hear them playing it.
Yeah, I literally destroyed that album. I listened to it so often. I ended up going out and buying 2 more copies of it. Yeah,
Greatest
one
album
copy I
ever.
still have that's in the plastic.
So what do you say about him now? Like, he's just come out with what's going on with him. It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, he's going to be touring, knowing that
Yeah.
he has this condition.
Well, the good thing about it,
which God love him. That's what you should. I get you know what?
Yeah.
You want to play your music, you play it as long as you can.
But you listen to the quality of that
Yeah.
guitaring now.
Yeah.
It was just on Howard Stern quite recently, and you listen to just how well he plays the guitar with an acoustic and those songs,
Yeah.
they still, I mean, that's a long time ago that album came out.
Yes.
And you still listen to the quality of those songs and the chording and the phrasing. Spectacular
Yeah.
musician.
Somebody's asking me if we could interview one person, like anybody, I guess, who would it be? That's a really good question.
Yeah.
What would it be?
Who would that be?
Who would it? Oh my God, I have so many.
Dead or alive?
Yes,
I guess alive.
I would want to interview. If it were dead, I would want to interview a clean Jimi Hendrix because I love, and Stevie Ray Vaughan. Oh my God,
Stevie Ray Vaughan would be great.
Oh my.
Chris Cornell.
Oh well,
Chris
yeah.
Cornell would be great.
That would have been.
Let's
Let's go with living. This is making me want to cry. When you mention Chris Cornell, I cannot listen to his song. If I am in a store and somebody play and if I'm anywhere and his song comes on, it's still it's almost like he's in my life. It's crazy because I never met him,
Yeah.
but I'm so attached to him.
What about living? Living for me, I would say Paul McCartney.
One of the best concerts ever.
Yeah.
3 hours of the guy played all these instruments. He was so great. And he just, what I like in a Paul McCartney concert is he'll do the Beatles songs. He'll do the George Harrison song. It's like he's doing tribute to everybody as part of the Beatles, which I love it. Rock on. That's the best.
Another one, Robert Plant.
Mm.
Yeah,
We got to get him.
yeah, we've
I
been
think we
trying.
could get
Yeah,
him.
we've been trying.
I just want to mention, like, this has been an amazing month for me in terms of there are 3 names, which I'm not going to say, I can't, but where I'm blown away and excited as can be that I'm going to get to interview them. And I love when that happens, especially because we're fairly young, but everything's grown so quickly. But if you could interview somebody, who would it be?
That's a bit of a toss-up for me. I would definitely have to say Michael Schenker. Uli Roth would also be, who started off in the Scorpions. And then probably Al Di Meola. I mean, I was quite influenced by his technical guitar playing back in the day.
Amazing.
That would be my 3 guys.
Let me ask you, so along with that, what are some other players, like, so what do you think of, like, Eric Johnson, Steve Morse, those guys? Did you ever get into them?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to talk to some of them, and I think it's coming up the pike, so that's cool.
Like they're both spectacular.
We love in the magazine, what we try to do is have somebody's instrumental.
I've got one
Go ahead.
person dead that I would want to interview.
Tell me who.
Who I think is the greatest vocalist ever, Ronnie James Dio.
Oh, there you go. I was
definitely-
waiting for you to bring him up.
Definitely want to talk about him and his career.
How come you didn't talk about the Scorpion? Didn't you have some news? Okay, so
No,
you're playing coy now because, like, you've texted me a bunch of times today, and I was just like flipping out. Everyone was like, and I just couldn't do
Well,
it. So you tell us what's the news. Just tell me.
One of my favorite bands, which is a good follow-on from Michael Schenker and Uli Roth. One of my favorite bands, the Scorpions, is just kind of winding down their career because they're all pretty old now. And on this final tour, which I think will go on for a year and a half to go, they're going to have Michael Schenker fill in on some dates and play some songs, and Uli Roth. And if you can get Uli Roth up there playing Speedy's Coming or Sales of Sharon or some of the classic Uli Roth stuff with his Strat, it'll be spectacular.
All right. And
So go see the Scorpions with Schenker and Uli Roth.
Cool. And Craig, I'm going to count on you for metal news. Do you have any metal news?
Metal news?
You had notes. Where? I swear, you guys don't know what I go through in the office between him and then we have Jason out in New York. Oh my God! And I think Jason is afraid of Craig. I really do because, like, Jason will call me and he's like, "Okay, I just reviewed this," and I'll be like, "Hey, you want to talk to Craig?" He'll be like, "No, I don't want to talk to Craig."
Well,
I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "No, just let me talk to you." I'm like, "Jason, you can talk to Craig." No, I don't want to talk to Craig.
Well,
Why is he like that with you?
I don't know if I have any metal news right now, but there's a recent collaboration that just happened, which I think is pretty cool. Which you're aware of this?
What?
Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh, yeah.
Brantley Gilbert, the country
Very
country
cool.
artist.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Sinise, the actor. It's actually a foundation.
Oh, the
that
foundation.
he put together. And
What's the name of the foundation?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't
You
know if
had
it's-
notes.
Yeah, I had some.
Guys,
notes.
this is like us in the office.
Yeah, I know.
You had notes.
And also
One job.
And also
One
Brian May from Queen. So,
Mhm.
and one more, Kenny Wayne Shepherd. and they all got together and they redid Kenny Wayne his song "Blue on Black." There's a great video right now if you go on YouTube.
Blue
you
on.
can check
Oh
it
yeah, that's
out.
right. Blue on back.
And all of the money from this is being donated to this charity. Great cause, and they really did an outstanding job with this. Five Finger Death Punch actually did a remake of the Kenny Wayne Shepherd song probably about a year or so ago, maybe a couple years ago. But this time with everybody involved, it's just really cool, and it's really really neat to see it.
Okay,
So
cool.
you might
Let's
wanna
talk
check that
about.
out.
Can we talk about like Netflix? So we tried to watch Tin Star.
Oh God.
It was okay. So like they don't even make you wait to get attached to people because in the first like few episodes, somebody significant dies, and you're just like, why did you have to go there? Why do you have to? I find like a lot of these shows on Netflix, they'll just like kill off people. Just I think it's for shock value. It's like, oh, you like that person? We're gonna kill him. Let's get rid of that character. So, is there anybody that you guys are like watching now, or any shows like when we get a chance to watch? I don't know. Then we tried that Widow show, and it just was so slow moving that we were just like, no. So some of our favorites have been, oh my God.
Schitt's Creek.
Schitt's Creek's awesome, but you got to give it like I hate when people always say this, like, you got to give it 2 or 3 episodes, and I've always been the one to say, if I have to give it 2 or 3 episodes and it doesn't draw me in, then forget it, I'm not watching it. But that's not true, because you just got to watch it. 2 or 3 episodes, you will just be dying laughing. They're just so crazy. And then the other one that we like is, what was it? Eastbound and Down.
Eastbound and Down, hysterical.
It is. The guy's name is Danny.
Yeah, it's an older show. I think it's been off for about for a few years. But
go watch.
hysterical.
If you want to crack up, is it on Stars or HBO?
I think it was HBO. It was
Oh,
about
it's HBO?
It's about the baseball player.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You guys,
Funny
oh
show.
my God, you got to
Have you
watch
seen that?
all of it. You
I
will
haven't.
be. I found myself like I ended up like almost falling off the bed. I was laughing so hard because it's like, and this is how I felt last weekend when we're looking into houses with my brother, and like I'm in the back, and sometimes with family, you want to, there's always those family members that you feel like going, okay, whatever you say, I'm an idiot, like sometimes it's like that, but. I watched this, and there's this little Mexican guy, and I like Mexican people, nothing, but they just put in this like little guy. I'm not small people. What do you call them? What do you call them?
Midget.
How come every one of your stories has to start with a disclaimer?
Because I'm all wrong. Anyway, the little
guy,
I
dwarf,
wanted to
midget.
have that guy in the car. I was like imagining just to make myself laugh and get entertained because I entertain myself. Like I'm and I'm like, oh, if I could just have that little Mexican kid. That it's a guy who's like, I don't know, what is he, like 30 or 40? But he's really he's like
older
what?
than that.
How tall do you think that little guy? He's like what? 3.
He's probably
What do
about 3 feet.
Okay, I love that guy, but he's like mean, and he's mean, and he wheels and deals on the show, and he like rips people off, and he does these he does the chicken fighting, and he's hilarious, and he's like fuck you, and his voice is like this.
What's the name of the show?
You got to watch Eastbound and Down and tell me
Eastbound and
that
Down. I'll
you
check it
got to
out.
watch. So there's that little guy, and I kept thinking, this guy, like, if my brother said something mean to me, he could be like the other Abby part of me. Like, he's sitting next to me, and he goes, fuck you. And, like, he's like, oh, okay, guy, you smart guy, just drive the car. Like, I just imagining having a little person like that. I would love that. Then I would never be guilty. Like, I'd always just be like, it's him. I didn't, it's him. He's doing it.
The accent.
Like, I want to have somebody who takes the fall for me. I really
the
do.
accent you just did wasn't Mexican.
No,
It
I
sounded
know.
Kenyan.
How do you do
Sounded
Mexican?
Kenyan
I know. I
more
can't
than-
do it.
I'm sorry.
Wait. Okay, hold on. Let me try. I can't do a Mexican. I can do Latin. I can do like Cuban. I
Oh,
can
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Sí, pero porque I grew up in Miami.
We have
And
just
so I can do- I
pretty
have
much
friends
hammered
who are
about
Cuban.
30% of the globe in this.
It's okay. We're supposed to. You can
What-
make fun of me too. You know
what
what
about
I mean?
what about the show Afterlife, which
Just
is
see the letters
which
coming
is
now.
Ricky?
What?
No,
Tell me. I love it.
We've offended about 7 different races
seven?
already.
Well, okay, well, there's a few more to go then.
They're going to drop their pants to make everybody entertained, and
Yeah.
that way no one will be offended. Listen, when I used to do
gonna
comedy,
reenact.
everyone was pissed off. And you know what? I used to say, don't come to, like how could you do a joke about this? And I'm like, it's a comedy. Like, it's if you come to a comedy show and you sit in the front, I'm going to have fun with you,
Okay, all right.
right?
Back to the shows.
Yes, but this is
Brilliant.
part of the show.
The
You've got a regimen, don't you?
The shows on Netflix we're
Okay.
talking about. Fantastic one. Ricky Gervais in Afterlife.
Oh, yeah? That's good?
It's about 6 episodes. And Ricky Gervais is the original guy that wrote The Office for English TV that was eventually moved over here in the Dunder Mifflin Steve Carell show.
Oh, cool.
But so it's got his very sarcastic.
So you like dry shows? You like dry humor?
Well, Afterlife has got some very sarcastic humor, and it finishes up. It's quite depressing at the beginning. I won't tell you what happens, but it really finishes up with a very good end. But it's absolutely hysterical. If you like Ricky Gervais.
Somebody actually did, Laura, if you're watching, she did a spoiler. Like, she totally told me what was going to happen in Game of Thrones. Like, I was really struggling with Game of Thrones. And so nobody tell me, I don't want to know about this episode, because what I like to do is I'm going to wait and I'll watch it in like 6 months from now, because I like to watch it all the way through, you know? Somebody's saying Love After Life is another good one. I haven't seen that one. Have you? Love After Life? Anybody? And then I'm supposed to do Moira from Schitt's Creek. So the funniest thing is Catherine O'Hara. She's the mom on Schitt's Creek. And what you should know about the show before you watch it is that it's Levine. What is his name? Come on, Ab. Okay, you know the father on American Pie? The one who has sex with the pie? No, he doesn't have sex with the pie. The kid does. The
Eugene
father.
Levy.
Thank you.
Levy.
Eugene Levy.
There we go.
Eugene Levy, Canadian guy. His son and he wrote this, and his son is in it. He is hilarious. But the best part is when you look at the outtakes also, if you go look them up, you'll see that the one who plays the mom, Catherine O'Hara, you've seen her in a million movies. She has him rolling, and he just can't stop laughing to get his scene down. That woman comes up with this accent. So she's supposed to be this like retired movie star person, but she never really quite made it, but she acts like she has. So she's got wigs on, and Catherine O'Hara is like my new hero.
Her outfits
Everyone wants to be
off the chain.
By the way, 1 million stars have asked to do cameos on that show and be a part of the show. It is that popular. And I love Catherine O'Hara. She's like, she calls him from the next room and she's like, David, I can't work like this. This is really hard for me. Like, she has this weird accent. You don't even know where it's from, but she's just this affected, hilarious character.
And all of her comments, they're phrased like questions.
Yeah. She's just, you gotta watch Schitt's Creek if you.
Schitt's Creek. Okay.
All right,
great.
so why is it? We were told that like 40,000 people were going to call. We were told that everyone was going to call. We'll talk rock with you. Nobody wants to talk rock and roll. Are you getting? Wait, is your ringer on? His ringer's probably off. No one's call. Is anyone texting you instead? What? Because everybody wants. Isn't it funny? Like
no love.
Isn't it funny? Like if you text somebody, then they're cool. Some of those people, but then the minute you call, they're like, "Oh, you called me." Isn't that weird? Have you noticed people do that now? They're like
any giveaways? You got like a True Rock Revival T-shirt.
Okay, no. We're going to talk about our websites then.
Talk about Bandivius.
Giveaways, guys. Just go buy our stuff on the. We've got a store now. Go buy our shirts. Okay. Why aren't we wearing our True Rock Revival shirts?
I don't know.
We will wear them next time. We apologize for that. We have the banner though. Okay. So what was I saying? Okay. So now we have a website called Bandivius, and it promotes local music. And we're going to start to have local shows where we get out there and promote only original music. So it's so funny. You call a club and you'll be like, well, we're thinking of doing, on a Wednesday at your club, this and this and this. We'll have these 4 bands. They're original. And they're like, so it's not covers, right? And so you have to get around that in this town a lot. So, but we're working it. It's starting to happen. And I think in the fall, we're going to have, I don't know what, once a week, possibly. Oh, yay.
We're making a call.
Oh, who are we calling? Uh-oh, I'm scared. You didn't tell me who we're calling? Oh, my God. Here we go.
He's being shy. It's the first time he's ever shy in his life.
Who is it? Call somebody else.
I'm trying to reach Jim.
Hi, this is Jim. Leave a message after the
Doesn't
tone.
Jim sound cool? Like he could be in a commercial. Hi, this is Jim, and if you're not using the deodorant that I'm using, Jim, you're texting. We just tried to call you. I'm Jim. That was like a commercial for deodorant. Didn't it sound good?
Sounded
Like,
good.
wouldn't you trust him?
Oh yeah.
Or like a. Thank you. It sounds like me laughing at me. That was wild. Battery. Like he's like, okay, what is he? No, call. You know what? Call someone else. You have so many crazy people. We have so many people
Ewan, let me ask you this
that
question.
are insane around us.
Ewan, you're driving in your car, a song comes on the radio, You can't turn it off quick enough. What song is that?
Oh, we're gonna bash. Aw, we can't go there.
No, I want to hear this.
Well, one, I would never
come
hear
on.
it on any radio that I would be listening to, but it would be Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond. What did Neil ever do to you?
I just don't like anything about him. I don't like the songs, the sideburns, the haircut, anything.
And we've got a call coming
Here
in.
we go.
All
We've
right.
got a call.
Who's calling us?
We're going to surprise you. True Rock. Who do we have here?
Chucky B.
We
Chucky
got Chucky
Blywise.
B.
Hey,
Chucky B.
what
What's
do you
going on?
What do you want?
What do I
What's
want?
up? You selling us on something?
No, not today anyway. But I just wanted to ask you with the comedy thing, do you think with the way comedy's going today, there's so much controversy that there should be no limits? Or do you think that comedians should be banned or censored? What are your feelings on that?
I feel that when you step into a comedy club, that you should just go all out. And so, like, there was one time I got up and I did a routine, and it was like I just bashed because people were getting so sensitive about everything that I just got up and I said, "This is for all the Dagos." I mean, I said every slang. I have a whole routine where I get out on stage and I do, every kind of bad shit you can say. So, and then I go, now can I just fucking get on with my comedy? And that's how I feel about it, because I feel like I want to laugh. And if I go into a comedy club and I get upset, as long as I don't rag on one background forever, then I don't think it's a big deal. Because actually I make fun of, and I think if comedians mix it up with making fun of themselves and making fun of their own families, making fun of their own backgrounds, if you blend it like that, people can take it more. But if you just go out there and you get on stage and you start bashing one group of people, it's, for me, I'd be like, first of all, I'd be bored. But secondly, I feel like when you go to a comedy club, it's comedy. And you just have to leave all the shit behind and get lost in it's a trip. You're going on a trip. You're going on a journey where you're just supposed to be made to laugh.
I agree. I think that anybody that's there and they're offended, then they could just leave or change a channel, So I kind of am going with anything goes these days. And I know it basically started with, like Lenny Bruce or George Carlin and Pryor. And I know how controversial that time was, but, they stood their ground and they eventually succeeded.
Well, I wanted to know, so tell me, have you ever been like in a club? So do you see comedy clubs? Did you go to comedy clubs a lot, or do you?
Yeah, I do once in a while when I can. And I listen to a lot on podcasts and, Stern over the years.
He's great. Yeah.
How he totally went over the edge and he took that chance and, he succeeded. So I love it when they go over the edge. It's just that making someone uncomfortable or, you feel awkward. I think that's the best comedy because they're really saying how people feel, but most people just won't say it.
So now, have you ever seen like a comic booed on stage, or like anybody getting pissed off at someone saying something?
No, I never have. I've been going to comedy clubs since the late 80s.
Cool.
And I've never experienced that. And I never did.
So who are some of your favorite? What were you going to say? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that when you go to the comedy club, you expect these things, but I think there's a lot of political correctness now that people get offended, and you know what? It's their right. They can just leave. But I hope it continues the way it is.
Now, did you go see? Remember a few years back, the Joan Rivers movie, and there's a guy who starts getting pissed off because
with a disability.
Yeah,
of
like
son
my son is
that.
disabled, and she's like, she started cursing. She got mad and started telling him to fuck off. That it's a comedy club,
Yeah, I think that definitely made people feel awkward, but that's who she is. And, there was no boundaries with Joan Rivers. And,
people need to understand, like I went through that situation where I did a Saturday night opening up for a big act. And this was before, a few years back. And I stopped doing comedy to do more stuff like, get back into music and everything. But like, I remember a night where I had actually decided I was going to do this wheelchair joke I have. Don't hate me now for this.
I love it already.
All right. So like, okay, thanks. But then I didn't expect to walk in and see two guys in a wheelchair. I mean, you don't think you're going to see all the situations but I did. And I walk in, it's a Saturday night, and now, it's the place is packed, right? And I have to knock it out of the park because, the guy I'm opening for has been on the Stern Show and had been on Letterman years ago. Mm-hmm. And so, like, the first thing is I run up to the people I'm close to and I go, I can't do this. There are people, like, I can't do this. There are people in the, that are handicapped. They're going to hate me. And my friend goes, no, those are the people who are going to love you the most. And I did it. And guess who came over to me? The guys in the wheelchair. They wheeled up and they go, oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah, I think they looked at it like you treated them like you treat everybody else.
I pretty much do. And it did happen. I was at the post office years ago and I opened up the door for somebody who was handicapped and they go, don't open the door for me. I can do it myself. And I go, well, I can do it faster. But I really didn't say that in real life. I'm glad you like my joke. Yay, Doug's laughing. Now, I did that on stage, but in reality, I didn't say that to the person. I just wrote that, because I was pissed off one day when I was writing my whole routine. Because, like, I think anger or shit that happens in your life, for me, I write and I get it all out there, and then I crack up and I go, people are crazy. And, my family, I have a lot of crazy people. So, like, not crazy lunatic like, they're in some ward, but I mean,
like my family. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, they're just like, we could call my mom next or anybody, and it's just they're just the way they do things and think. It's just wild. So, yeah, no, but I think that's where comics, what people have to understand is like we're expressing ourselves and we're getting out there and we just want to make people laugh, and that's our high. Like we just want to hear, like for me, my high is singing more and writing music more, so I'm doing that now more. But doing comedy, you're scared, you're jumping off a cliff. Like I don't feel that way with music, but I feel that way when I've done stand-up, because you could get heckled, which I've had happen. You could have no one laugh, which I've had happen. But for the most part, I had people laughing a lot, and that was it's a rush, to walk away from making a room of people when it's packed. It's just great. So it worked out.
I think that's great. And when I go to comedy clubs or a football game, which I don't go anymore, but I think it's therapeutic because you're getting away from all of your problems for 2 hours or 3 hours. And I think it's therapeutic. You just don't think about anything else except what's in front of you.
Yep. It's great.
Can I ask you one more? I got to
go ahead, Chuck.
Go in a different direction here.
Yeah.
Regarding the group from London that started in 1962, the Rolling Stones, what do you think their staying power is? And don't say drugs.
No. Well, Keith Richards is going to outlive us all, as we know.
Yeah.
Although, and I think they have lasted through generations because of soul. They have an element of blues and soul, and that's really what they started in, was blues. And I think, like Led Zeppelin and other acts, when you start with that backbone of feeling and you're able to emote that like they do and really be rock and roll. And when I think being rock and roll means you give over to it and you are less concerned with, like, you're in another zone, and if you're able to go there as a band and people like the vocalist, the lead vocalist, the lead singer, and if people like the groove, I think they're a combination of soul, blues, groove, and it just sticks. They have the hits that stick with you over generations, of time. So I think that's what makes them legendary, and that's just my take on it. Someone else might say it's something else, because I don't think, like, if you look at that band, the Rolling Stones, I don't think we go, people love them as a unit together, but it's not like when you talk about separate people like who are instrumentalists in a certain way. We love the band. We love the songs that come out of that band, and we love the lead singer of that band, and we love that if we hear it in a club, we want to dance. It's just the rhythm, the grooves make us want to dance.
You know, I also think that with the Stones, they can really relate to people of all ages. You know, there's so many generations that they can appeal to. It's a band that's been passed down from generation to generation. The other thing with them, they're cool. They're really cool guys. The way they act, the way they look, the way they behave. You take a band, on contrast, someone like the Moody Blues that have been around for pretty much the same time. But if you put the Moody Blues next to the Stones, on the stage, it's almost looking like like someone's grandparents.
Yeah.
Don't rag on them.
No.
Come on. Great.
But let me just feed off that. There's no doubt that there's
the style is completely different.
The coolness factor of the
yes.
Stones. And to answer the question specifically, I mean, they have an incredible frontman and singer.
Yes.
But also they have a very strong leader, and he's the one that organizes everything, and the rest of the guys can bug around and get wasted and do silly things.
Drummer? Is it the drummer?
No. But Jagger is the guy.
He's the guy. Yeah,
general.
all business.
He's the general, and he runs that like a tight ship. And I think if you didn't have Jagger, it would have dissolved a long time ago.
That's interesting.
That's just
what a
my
good
feeling.
point. We had another caller trying to come through, and so Chuck, we appreciate you calling in. You rock, man.
Thank you. One last thing, real quick. You were talking about
ahead.
first concerts.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 15 years old in 1977, Led Zeppelin was my first concert at Madison Square Garden.
You saw Zeppelin?
Yes.
Oh, so jealous. Oh my God,
And I
how
saw
was it?
Bonham there, and that's and then 3 years later,
Holy
it checked
shit.
out. But I'll never forget that concert. That took
man.
me to a whole different level.
That's
All right, I'll
freaking
let you
amazing.
go.
Oh, thanks for
Great
sharing
show,
that.
Thanks for
guys.
calling.
Call in
Hope to
again.
see you again.
It's great
Will
talking
do.
to you. And so we got Doug over here. I'm not going to say what he's doing. Doug. So, Doug, what is your first concert?
My first concert actually was Guns N' Roses.
Oh, really?
Right.
Of course, you're from New York. You know.
I think I saw them down here actually.
You're kidding me.
No, I saw them Orange Bowl. No, it was no. I'm sorry, Joe Robbie Stadium. It was Joe Robbie Stadium. At the
When
time.
it was Joe Robbie
Yeah.
Stadium.
Do you remember what year that was?
91, I think.
That was your first concert?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
And okay, so who are your favorites? We don't even talk. Like we've known Doug a little while here. We don't even ask you these things. We should.
I'm behind the scenes.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Now you're not.
Nobody could see me.
No, now you're
I'm,
not.
I'm just a voice in the.
No, we're gonna get cameras on
Yeah.
you. You'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So what else? So who else do you like? Who do you rock music? Anyway?
Big Van Halen fan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
More of.
Which one?
Yeah,
Which
that's what I
lead
was gonna
singer?
say.
Van Halen or Van Hagar?
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say not Van Hagar, more of a Van Halen fan.
All
Sammy's okay,
right. Sure.
just wasn't my thing.
It's
Really.
just different.
Yeah,
Huh? What about David Lee Roth? Have you seen him lately?
yeah. He looks like my grandmother now.
Yeah, he does.
Ah, come on.
No, he does. He's serious. He looks like an old lady.
But see, this is the thing I don't understand. Like, what are people expecting to see? Like, I don't expect if I go see him now, well, first of all, what I expect is I want to see Eddie Van Halen, but I don't expect Eddie now, who's had some issues from this over the years now because he's older, to slide across the stage like he did back in the day, and he would kick this humongous wall of speakers. Of course, the speakers were chained together. But I used to be blown away by watching him. And I'm like, yeah, David Lee Roth's all right, but Eddie, that's the guy. Because I'm like, how is he he's playing like a madman. He's sliding across, and he's hitting it's like, that was rock and roll, man. So the thing is, I don't expect now if I go see him. Like, you were really upset when we went to see them, Craig. Oh my God. He's so dramatic, by the way. Craig is dramatic. He was the whole ride home, I had to hear of how disappointed.
I was embarrassed for.
Why?
I was embarrassed for David.
He's
Lee
having
Roth.
a good time.
I was embarrassed for him.
People don't understand. To me, he's just this
Which
eclectic
time?
character.
This
Which
was-
time were you
Like
embarrassed?
2 or
for?
3 years ago at BB&T.
This was about 5, 6, 7 years ago when they were here. Let me tell you, Kool and the Gang opened up the show, and they blew them off the stage. Okay, that's how bad it was. And Eddie,
This is blasphemy, by
and
the way.
Eddie, I know, and Eddie actually looked, annoyed at certain points. of the show. I mean, David Lee Roth was an embarrassment. He couldn't.
He's
couldn't-
punished.
Oh, you shouldn't say that.
He's punished his system over the
He
years.
couldn't. He couldn't sing.
He could sing. He's just
he
you're
couldn't sing.
expecting
No, but
him to
He
do
was-
the
no,
loud growls
not,
when he was
not
younger.
at all. He couldn't sing. He was boring.
Compare
See, I
him
thought he was
to,
okay.
I mean, Sammy Hagar, and I do
And
think
Sammy Hagar.
I do think that David Lee Roth in his prime was a better singer, and I love the first few albums.
In his prime, he was,
but
he was
look
incredible.
at Sammy Hagar now.
But
He's
Sammy
70,
Hagar now,
71 years old. He's in great
is
shape. He looks
amazing.
great. Sings perfect.
So this conversation's become how people age.
No, not at all.
But what you don't know how your
No,
voice is gonna.
not
You
at
have
all.
to take care of your voice, hopefully. But Keith Richards doesn't have to take care of anything. But like,
And I think the
it's
older
just
David Lee Roth.
everyone's different.
And I think the
yeah.
older David Lee Roth has gotten, the more he's really embraced his inner, pop music, love for pop music and disco. Something that he's always embraced, even when he was younger. He loved the disco.
Mm-hmm.
He loved going to Studio 54 and dancing to Donna Summer and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But his show, when he's on stage now, that's what it's all about. It's David Lee Roth, acting, like a clown.
You just don't like how he dances. See, to me, he's always been eccentric. He always will be eccentric, and
He's completely over the top now, and it really is an
but he's
embarrassment.
always that's his personality.
No, but it's
I
embarrassing.
know somebody who was
He's
gonna,
always been that way. It just looks
He's-
kind of
yeah.
weird to see an old,
just 'cause he's older.
partially
Maybe.
bald guy try and
What
do
are you
that.
going to say, Doug?
Wasn't he? I
What?
don't know. Am I?
We need to hear you more. Let me talk to the sound guy. Sound guy, turn yourself up.
Okay. Hello.
Here it is. See, your voice is great, grande. Okay, I'm getting all these texts, but I can't because we can't follow all the different texts. I'll end up answering you guys later. So, but Craig, what did someone call in? Someone was trying
Yeah,
to.
Jim was trying to
Jim,
call in.
call
Jim,
in,
us
man.
back.
We
Call
want
us
to talk
back.
to you.
Call us back.
All right, sorry we didn't get you, Jim.
I'll throw the number on the screen again.
Yeah,
All right.
Numbers on the
Quest-
screen.
all right, question-
954-707-997.
Question for Abby.
75.
Question for Abby.
Oh, someone has a question for
no,
me.
I have a question for you.
Me?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
You know me.
What-
What could you possibly
I'm
want to
gonna
ask?
this. Out of all the interviews that you've done so far, which one stands out as your favorite?
Okay. I loved speaking with
One,
Mark
two.
Tremonti. He is a gentleman. He is like this. Okay, so I don't want to put him on a pedestal or anybody, but I find that the person.
1 2 1 2.
Yeah, I
Did
can
you hear
hear
me?
you. Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me? Oh shit.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be able to.
No, you better keep yourself where you are. It's good. We like it. It sounds great. Look at him now. He's getting into
No,
it.
now I'm going to turn it
Yeah.
off. Damn it.
No, now you need to be here. You can't come in and out. You can't come in and out of our lives.
All right.
You can't do that to
Tell us
us.
about-
You
tell
need
us
to
about
be
Tremonti.
present. What if we ask you a question, Doug? Keep it up. Doug's not really shy. He's just playing shy. Okay. So here's the thing. Yeah. Plus, Doug, you've been married like how many times? You can't be shy if you've been married like 5 or 10 times.
It's only 5.
5. Okay. We're going to talk about that.
No.
It's not against you. It's
no,
cool.
we're not talking about
Well, yeah,
it.
we will.
No,
All
we're
right.
not talking
Okay,
about
so
it.
we
Back to
we're going to
Tremonti.
have to. We have to pick at everybody's things. Okay, so Mark Tremonti is an amazing. It's not just the guitar playing, but it is his attitude that he feels many people could do what he's doing. Very modest, willing to be on the phone with you until like his PR person was like, "Well, we got to move this along." They get on. But the thing is, he was just like giving me pointers and things, and because guitar for me is just like. The thing is, I need to have like the 4 or 5 hours every day. So after we move, I'm setting shop up for that more. But he was so welcoming and ready to be in the interview, give information out. He's concise. He's precise. He is a professional and just an amazing. I just got this vibe from him. I just thought he was the greatest guy. I hung up and I was like, wow. It's like somebody you could just hang, like you just. I didn't feel there was much BS there. Just a very kind, good guy, and I really enjoyed interviewing him. It was a lot of fun.
All right. What about your most?
Then my most recent one, and here's the crazy thing about the magazine. So you write this piece, right? And then you hear later on from people on tour or whatever that they're talking about the piece that you did. You interviewed them, and that and they loved it. But you never, I know, you never, yeah, you do it after I say the thing. You never hear, I'm going to go like that. You never, but you never hear from them. You hear from their PR going, oh, we loved it, whatever. And you don't hear from the artist and you're like, oh my God. And I, like with Nita Strauss, I thought that she would hate it because I was pretty much saying, hey, know about the history of classical. It'd be cool. Like I was like highlighting the history of classical music just because of her last name, Strauss, and her family, grandparents being, like the Strauss. So I sometimes feel like I'll go out with the pieces that I put prior to the interview, the paragraphs or whatever, the background information, if you will. But then I wonder, am I annoying them? Do they not like it? And then I find out they do, or they don't say anything. So listen, since I'm supposed to meet you, Lita Ford, backstage, I hope, and we want to see the show with Malmsteen and everything, Yngwie, I really hope I get to meet you and hang out with you because Lita Ford is a freaking trip. I was cracking up. She is, and I'm going to say it to you always, you are a rock and roll woman who runs with the wolves. She has made it possible for women to not be afraid in metal ages ago.
And she's an icon.
She's an icon. She made it possible for women to... Now, there were other people, little pods of... Okay, first there was Janis. Then, and I mentioned this, there was Janis first before her. Then you had Patti Smythe out, but she was doing the punk thing, and it was more like it wasn't playing guitar, it wasn't singing, it was more like poetry, singing, and that was the punk movement happening in Greenwich Village at the time, and it was happenstance. She was just hanging out with musicians and started speaking her poetry, so she was more or so considered a poet. But then you have at the same time you have Heart coming up out of Canada. I always thought they were from South Florida, but I think they went from Canada to South Florida, and then they were in South Florida. But
were they not from Seattle, or did they go from Canada to Seattle? Because they're really kind of well known as a Seattle band.
Yeah, I think Seattle.
So it was Seattle,
Yeah.
but I thought there was some portion. Okay, maybe it was just wishful thinking because I think they're amazing. But Heart, that group, they came in through the 70s. But the difference is, they were sisters. One played guitar, one sang. But now you have somebody who sang and played her axe really well. Eddie Van Halen thought she was a great, she's like, don't worry about anything, man. You could play. Like, she was respected as being one of the guys, but she used her sex appeal in a very powerful way to finally be like a first rock and roll woman on a magazine, and to me, and she started when she was 16. She's going around with the Runaways, in cramped cars, eating McDonald's, whatever, and like they're going all over. And then when she got away from that, she decided she's going to sing. She had to figure out, but she was just really a path paver for women. And people say, well, but there was this, but they weren't in metal. And I think it's harder, even in metal, when she came up to be taken seriously. And she didn't for a while. They would not put her, the very people now who are awarding her, giving her reward, I think it was Guitar Magazine. One of them, they were the ones who would not put her on the magazine years ago on the front cover. Absolutely wouldn't. And, now look at her. She's being honored by them. So I had a great time with her. And what was the greatest thing about Lita Ford is like a day or two later, I get a phone call and I'm in my car and this number comes through, right? And I pick up and I go, hello, this is Abby. And she goes, Abby, this is Lita. And I'm like... It's like, what? She goes, listen, I think I answered one question wrong. I wanted to emphasize that music. It was great. It was like talking to someone. I just hit it off with her. She's just this wild, really wild person, but I like her. I liked her a lot. And I hope I get to meet her. Am I fangirling out?
No, not at all.
Because it's not like that. I just mean like she's cool.
All right. Interview that was probably the toughest for you.
Oh my God. Doyle from the Misfits. I thought I didn't know what I was going to do with myself in that interview. I swear.
Originally, I was going to be doing the interview.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thank you.
After speaking to the publicist, when he outlined for us questions not to ask, topics to avoid, I discussed with you, and you said, let me have that. She said, no, that's bullshit. Give me that.
Well, it's like, dude, but I didn't go there, but he ended up going there.
He ended up going there.
Yeah, but he went there because I think what I did is like I could. Well, first of all, like I like to know when you're on tour. I want to know like what you're doing. So I go when you get up. I go when you get up. Can you just tell me like what's a day in the life, man, when you're on tour? You're going around, and he goes, I get up, I take a shit, I eat my oatmeal. I'm like, oh, I couldn't believe he said that. I'm like, I didn't know what to say to him. And I go, oh, thanks for sharing that. It's like
He's just running you through the morning.
I know, but the thing is like, dude, don't be a smart ass. You fucking decided you're gonna do this. Like nobody held it. Like you wanted to do this interview, man. Don't give me your shit. But then I just like laid back and I go, all right, well he'll talk. And he ended up opening up later about friends and family. And at one point I wanted to go, hey, I gotta go, just as a joke, and just go, just kidding. But you don't like you think of funny things, but finally when someone opens up when they've been that defiant, I was whatever. But he was great. Now he ended up being fine. By the end he was nice. I guess he's the kind of guy you gotta warm up to him.
Very guarded.
You gotta warm up to him. Yeah. But that was the hardest. I didn't know. He would answer everything like I didn't even give him yes or no questions. These were questions where it required detail, and he would give me like a half a sentence. Like it was just like a few words. This went on for like 10 minutes. I thought I was going to lose it.
While she's doing that, when the interview started, I guess probably about 5 or 10 minutes in, I just had to leave the room.
Wow.
Yeah, it was painful for you. Yeah. You throw me the bone, and I have to do it, and then you walk out of the room. It's good support. You see?
Ended up working out very well.
That's great. Who else is trying to reach us?
Who else trying to reach us?
Come on.
Yeah, Jim was trying to reach us.
Jim
probably went to sleep.
Jim, we keep asking for you. Let's
old.
call somebody. Call Sean. Get him on the phone.
He won't answer.
Get him on the phone. We could call Ruth. Get her on the phone. You want to get her on the phone or no? No? All right. Leah. Oh, my music? Thank you. All right. So I'm getting some comments here. Thank you. I'm glad, Leah, that Leah's an amazing photographer of rock and roll people. And the area is Connecticut, right? Isn't Leah in Connecticut? Am I saying her? Is it Leah or Leah?
Leah. Yes,
Oh, it's Leah. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. So Leah loves the song that I wrote called Show Me. Thanks. That's I'm really glad to hear that people like that one and Day of Colors, and I was supposed to record but I was supposed to be recording next month, but that is going to have to be in the summer. So we've all decided summertime is the recording time. But you're in Mass. I'm sorry. She's in Massachusetts.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Okay, Craig. It's not me. Anyway,
It's been a long day.
she has everyone I've played. Oh, okay, great. Oh, they do? Oh, great. So Massachusetts, I love you, Massachusetts. I used to live in Boston, so. Oh, okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Of course, now I'm hearing this stuff.
Leah?
All right. All right, well, so thank you. That song's cool. We're, you're going to like the remake of it. It's cool because as musicians, like you like stuff and then like 5, 6, that's about 5 years old. And so then there's one, I'm going to be fixing it up for the new album. So that's cool. And then there's Day of Colors also that people are digging, and it's great that people like. I always there's songs you're writing, you're like pretty much putting your journal out there, so you're hoping people like it, And who's gonna call?
Who's gonna call?
We thought we had like 40 or 50 people telling us they were gonna call us,
shy.
and I don't know why you guys are shy. Because you know what's gonna happen? Like they're gonna end up they text us, and let me see if I'm getting anything. Because I haven't been answering this. So
Nobody uses the phone anymore.
No, they don't.
It's
I
all
know they're
impersonal
gonna.
texting.
Hold on. Let me see what's going. Oh yeah, here it is.
Howdy.
There he is. Say
Yeah.
hi to Jim.
The man. Hey,
Jim.
dude.
Hi, guys. Hi. I love listening to you guys.
Good. I can't believe that you're calling me. This is gonna be great. I have to try to be like the show. Shit's Creek. David.
It's more.
It's Moira and Craig is here, and we've worked so hard. Go ahead.
Oh my God! Spoiler alert! She's directing a local town version of Cabaret in season 5.
Oh, all right. So go ahead. Hit us with whatever you want to ask. Embarrass us. We're cool. By the way, go ahead. Just go.
Okay. Well, you're talking about your music. Are you writing now?
Yeah. a lot of I have too many songs probably because it's really hard to narrow down, but I'm grateful for them. I have the songs are in my head, the ones we're going to be recording this summer. Not a lot. So sometimes I'm sure I come off as a little like rough because I will be doing stuff around the house and the song, or I'll be staying up and the song just is going. I have the guitar lines going, the bass, and a lot of times I hear, and I'm hearing a lot of guitar lines lately, but the songs they're very, one of them is sort of a Dave Matthews ballad. The other one sounds like a little bit like a, Sammy Hagar like rocking, but it's me and my style of rocking. And then you got one that's like, it's not Hailstorm, but it's definitely hard rock, and in that it's a little dramatic beginning and stuff, and it's cool. So I have 4 or 5 people. There's interest, and people wanted me to, they're like, you can't just give me these 2 songs. And it's not that I didn't have other songs to give them, it's just that I didn't like the songs I would give to people who want to get us out there in a bigger way. So I got to get these 4 or 5 recorded probably by July, August the latest, but we're going to get into the studio in July. But
so you're going to record the new stuff before you start playing gigs.
There was, I don't know. There was like a schedule. Craig and somebody else was working on a schedule for June. If we can, we'll do local shows in June, but I don't see, I'm the type who doesn't like to jump out there and without my new stuff. So I'd feel weird if it's got to kick ass. So I'm going to, for me, I'd rather wait. If I have to do shows, actually, we have some shows being booked for, that's right, I forgot about that. We have some local shows already being booked for September and October. So we'll get our feet wet, and then we hope we'll be traveling as Sordid Fable. So
when you're playing some of the new shows, you like to play your new stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I could do because I could throw in, I have blues, that song, Persuasion, and I have, or someone else calls it Forever Blind.
Lonely Mile.
And I have a lot. Like my songs are categorized in it's very good to write a lot, but I sometimes envy those people who write 8 songs and they'll have only those 8 songs in their mind for a year. I think that's got to be cool, because if my phone has because then it's not distracted, you can strip it away. But the ones that are good and the ones that I think are going to work were those 2 songs, and that's what the PR and management people thought we have 4 of them who just were like, wow, we want more from her. So that's really cool, but I'm not going to bring, so then the ones that I feel are going to work, since I trust myself now that those 2 worked, I'm going to stick to that formula, because I guess I kind of know, but I still am going to ask a lot of people. I'll hand over to different groups of people. I'll have them listen to it. But I know the ones. I already know the ones for the studio. I got it. I kind of.
You got it down.
Well, it's haunting me. And when a song doesn't, when it doesn't give up on you, it just keeps going around in your head a million times, and you hear the hook, and there are times when I'm like, I like that song, who sings it? And I'm like, oh my God, it's my tune. I think that's how you know. And I really do go through that. I'm not just trying to be I'm not a dramatic, to know me. I may be that way. I don't really like drama. So anything that haunts me or comes after me like that. And the one that's dramatic, I was like, what are you talking about? What? You have strings in the beginning, and it's like, no, you don't want to do that. And it's got this other part, and it's a little dramatic. And then I kept hearing it again. The whole song it kept bothering me.
The hook just keeps going through your mind.
Yeah, it's the A, B, C, and A, and I mean the whole form goes through my mind. And I hear a lot of guitar and drums and bass a lot. I mean, you would think as a singer I would hear the music mostly. No, I'll get the line and the song first, and I'll put it in my phone wherever I am, or in the middle of the night or whatever. And then the next, and I'll have the guitar. I have to make separate tracks for the guitar lines that are going through my head, like the solos and all the. I feel like my job, and I have to get to be in it more to get it, is to pull everything out that's there. So I don't know how.
Do you hear the music first, or do the words come after the music?
I hear it all. I hear it all together. It just goes, here I am, and I go, okay. It's weird. I have one song that sounds like it could be a Boston tune. I have one song that sounds like it's a Red Hot Chili Peppers tune. But again, I had like a bunch of stuff I could have just thrown out, but it was recorded rough. And I know you can do that with these record people, but these are people who are pretty out, like they're, if they're going to make the difference for me, I don't want to give them something unless I think it's as good as the two that I gave them. So that's the situation I'm in. I got to really get it recorded the right way. And I've been speaking to different people, and we're figuring on July. So
Cool.
And in July
Hey,
down
Abby,
here,
where's the
nothing's
best,
going on.
Where's the best place to hear your catalog?
I haven't really, we've talked about, like, should I put a bunch of my stuff up or just not? So if I were to put my catalog up, it would include blues, jazz, and rock. But again, because I don't feel that some of the stuff is recorded that well, I don't know. I'm shy about it. I'm going to admit that. I may throw up some blues or jazz, but it would just be categorized as that. But the thing is, I don't want someone to like that so much where the rock stuff gets pushed somewhere else, I guess. I don't know. I'm weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe one day I'll just throw all my blues and stuff up.
Just a sample, just an Abby sampling.
Yeah, I could do that. I'll get around to
That'd
it.
be cool.
Yeah, I would love to do that. That might be cool. You think that'd be cool? Wow. I'm going to ask
I
Craig.
think it'd be great.
Play it on the next
All right.
show.
So we got to talk about, when is the next show? Have we talked about that?
I haven't discussed it yet.
All right. Well, we're going to be working on it, and then we'll just keep up with us on Facebook. Keep up with our announcements, and thank you for reading. I mean, we're almost at the million mark for the reading we're almost at 1 million readers every month.
That's monthly.
That's every single month. It is reset, and we are blown away. So peace out to everybody. You guys make us, and we just thank you so much, and keep rocking. And we are now going to thank you, Ewan Smart, for being with us, and Doug Kaplan, and of course the man behind it all, Craig Marks, and myself, Abby Davis. Rock on, rock hard, rock loud. Just do it.